there are many different perspectives on New Year's resolutions. Some people think it's bullshit, some people think it's necessary for success, and we have everything in between. Now, I think we can all agree on the fact that your success and your goals are not going to happen by accident. The more randomness you create in your life, the more you're giving away your greatness. And if we look at successful people, they all have something in common. They all do the same things, especially when we look at the fundamentals and the basics. They all have a goal and a vision, and they all have a plan on how to achieve this. And you become successful oftentimes not by looking at all the fancy things, it's by doing the basics consistently and mastering them. And this is what we're going to go deeper into in this video about planning and preparing for 2025. Because when you plan and prepare for the next year, it's you shifting from living a reactive life and living a life of randomness to becoming the architect of your life. And when you're the architect of your life, you're not going to show up to a random location, hoping that there are some materials there that you can build a house with. Because that will be extremely dangerous as well. If you are the architect of your life and you're building a house, you're going to plan for it. You want to know what resources you need. You want to know everything about the location. You want to build a strong fundament. You want to know what the rooms look like. You are very intentional, mindful about every single detail there, and maybe even about the people that you need in this whole project. And that's how you want to be approaching your life, because building a house is a symbol for you building your life and creating your life. And in this case, creating the year of 2025. So I'll be going through the whole process that I go through in my preparation for 2025. And this is also a process that I'll go through with all the men in my community. So we have a 2-hour session scheduled where we go through this together live and bounce back and forth with ideas. And sometimes if you get stuck, we can ask questions and open up different doors that weren't there yet. So if you see this video on time, and if you still want to join this live session where we go through this whole process that I'll share with you in the video, then you can apply it by filling out the form in the description below, and we'll hop on a call and make it happen. So one of the first steps that I take when it comes to preparing for 2025 is I look back. I look back at 2024, because I believe we prepare for the future by studying history, because there's so much gold and valuable information and lessons in your past that you don't want to just neglect. You want to take them with you into the next year, because otherwise you will be running into the same mistakes over and over again. It's like you're in a toxic relationship, and I've had this happen to me actually. I was in a toxic relationship, things were not working out, I got out of it, I got into a new relationship, and the exact same pattern started happening. I'm like, why is this happening? And then you get out of the relationship, you get into a new one, same patterns happen, same toxic relationship. And that happens when you don't reflect back, when you don't study history. Because you want to take a moment, take a step back and ask yourself, why is this happening? How am I creating this? What is not working here? What is this showing and telling, what is the situation telling me about myself? How can I improve this? All of these things you want to reflect upon to do a better job in the future, to improve your performance. And this is how you want to approach every single area of your life. If we look at world-class athletes, they analyze their tapes of their training, of their competition, and even the tapes of the other teams to see what they are doing and what they are doing wrong, and how there are gaps in their performance that they can take advantage of. We can look at, if you want to improve your sales goals, for example, you start to record them, you start to look at them, you start to analyze them and see how you can improve them. If you took an exam and you get your results back and you know that you have a similar exam in the future, you're not just going to leave that information out there and these results. You're going to look at the results to see what information do I understand already and where are my gaps? Where can I improve? And this is what we're going to be doing with your life, every single area of your life. Because it sounds obvious when I say it like this, but most people neglect reflecting back, and then they start questioning why they are running into the same walls and why they are not improving. Because this is how you take full radical responsibility for where you are at in life. Because I come from the perspective that everything is created by you. How people think of you is created by you. How people treat you is created by you. All the results that you have, where you are at in life, is created by you. So that's why it's so important to look back, because there's a lot of valuable information there. And I'll go through the areas of life and the questions that you want to ask yourself. So if these areas of life don't resonate with you, if you prefer a different kind of categorization, be my guest. This is just an example of how I categorize currently my areas. And if you feel like an area is missing or you want to make different nuances there, that's of course possible. So we have the area of career and purpose. We have the area of health and fitness, relationships and community. We have the area of lifestyle and experiences, money and wealth. And then we have the personal and passions area. And then we have these 6 areas. And what you want to be doing is you want to ask yourself the following questions for each area. What was good or great about this area in 2024? What was not working out at all in this area in 2024? And if you want to go a layer deeper, what lessons are you taking away from this area? And also, are you taking with you into the new year? This is how you're studying history. This is how you're studying your data. Because what you want to be looking for also is trends. Because there are certain trends in the things that are going well, and there are certain trends in the things that are going bad. And when you are aware of these trends, that's when you can influence them. The thing and change them and shift them, because we want to bring all of this in our awareness first. And once it's in our awareness, that's the moment we can do something with it. If it's somewhere floating in our unconscious, there's no way we can change it or influence it. So that's the power of looking back. So now that you've looked back, the second step that I love to do is brainstorm. I just want to create a small amount of time to brainstorm, because we often fall into the trap of thinking in limitations and thinking in certain prisons and rules that we've created for ourselves. And I just want to break out of them for a moment and tap into different possibilities that are out there that I didn't see before by brainstorming, by creating a small amount of time for each area to just allow my imagination to flow and to go crazy with this area. Doesn't mean that I have to do all of these things that I write down, but just to create and explore freely. So what I do with these areas is, again, I take all the areas. I set a certain amount of time. You can take 5 minutes per area. You can take 10 minutes. It depends on how much time you want to spend on this part. And then you can ask yourself a powerful question, as in, what would need to happen to make this the greatest year for my career and purpose, for my fitness and health? And then you just start to brainstorm all these ideas. You just write them all down. It doesn't matter how crazy they are. You just start writing. And the beautiful thing is, there will be a moment in the brainstorm where you don't know anymore, where you run to a wall. And that's the moment where you want to push through, because that's when new information starts coming up. You need to think deeper, you need to explore deeper and approach it from different angles to access more information. And oftentimes in these kind of brainstorms, in these moments, that's when you will access the most valuable information, the things that you didn't think of before. So that's the second thing that you do. So we have all the data from looking back. We have all the data from the brainstorm for each area. And with all this data, we can set goals. So that's the third step. You want to set goals for each area of your life. And one rule that I always keep in place is, because you can set so many goals, but you want to create a maximum of 3 goals for each area. No more than 3 goals. There are maybe certain areas that I only create 1 goal for. And another thing that you want to keep in mind when setting the goals is also the sequencing, because certain things need to happen first before you move on to the next goal. And so what you do with this part is, now we're making things more specific. Now instead of going wide, we start to narrow down and see, okay, this is the direction that we're going into. So the most important part with this is also prioritization. Like, what are the most important goals here? Instead of writing down all the goals, like with the brainstorming and all the ideas. And we're not going into planning yet. This is simply creating the direction. Now, when you have the goals for each area, the next thing that I go into is I want to create a theme of the year. And I think this one is so much fun. So this is a very powerful way to approach your New Year's resolutions from, is what is the theme of the year? And you don't want to intellectually create a theme as an, okay, I know this is important to me, so I'm going to just create this as my theme. But I believe the theme of the year will come to you. It's almost like a calling from inside that you want to make this a theme. A theme could be money. A theme could be slowing down. A theme could be focus. Maybe a theme is comeback. Maybe it's recovery. Maybe it could be any single word that you can imagine. Maybe it's confidence. But the way that I use these themes is I use these themes as a funnel in the way that I'm approaching my goals. If that makes sense. So let's say I have a theme of the year of money. And so when I'm going to be improving my relationship, you could say, well, how is that making me more money? And that's exactly the question that you want to be asking. How can I be improving my relationships that would make me more money? How can I improve my health and fitness that would make me more money? So I start to funnel my theme through all the goals that I'm trying to achieve. The theme comes first and the goals come second. So if your theme is slowing down, for example, then how can and you want to double your income. Let's say you want to double your income in a year and your theme is slowing down. How can I double my income by slowing down? How can I slow down in my fitness and achieve my fitness goals? So slowing down becomes a theme in all the goals that you want to be achieving. And this is such a powerful and fun way to be approaching your New Year's resolutions from. So then there are 2 steps left. Another one is when you have your goals, you have your theme of the year, then you want to also get clear on the habits. The habits that are necessary to achieve the goals in this area. Because everything happens through your habits, the accumulation of these habits. Now, again, you want to only at a maximum create 3 habits for each area. And sometimes maybe 1 or 2 is necessary or is already enough. Because there are so many habits that you can improve, and it's always applying the 80-20 rule. There are only 20% of the habits that will create 80% of the results. And these are the habits that you want to be focusing on. So what kind of habits do you need in your career and purpose? What kind of habits do you need in your relationships? Maybe to improve the relationship with your girlfriend, like what kind of habits do you need to set in place? Similar to health and fitness, habits around sleep, habits around working out, habits around nutrition. So that's the next part that you want to be focusing on. And the last part, I think this is such a powerful question, is what do you want to be letting go of in 2025 in each area? I've been coaching high performers now for more than 6 years. And the more I'm coaching them, the more I'm realizing it's not about doing more. It's actually about doing less. And it's letting go and removing all that's not important. All the things that are not giving you a productive payoff. All the things that are draining your energy, that are distracting you. All the relationships that are not serving you. You want to be removing all the things that are not important to you and that are not serving you, so you can focus only on the thing that is important to you and spend all your time, energy, focus on these things. So again, if you go through all the areas of your life, what are the things that you want to let go of? What are the things that you're holding on to that you think, this is not working, this is not important to me, these are the relationships that they are not serving me, these are the habits, these are the addictions, these are the distractions that I just want to remove. And once you have all these answers and all this data, this can take you, by the way, this can take you a few hours, and sometimes you need to review it again and again and again to really fine-tune this whole process. So as you can see, we're not going into the planning yet. This is a completely different video on how to, let's say, plan your quarter, plan your month, plan your week, plan your days. This is a different kind of video, but this is like the preparation when it comes to moving into 2025. So what you want to do, now you have these 6 areas, you have the goals, you have the habits, the things you want to let go of, you have the theme of the year, and you want to keep this front of mind. How are you going to keep this front of mind? How are you going to focus on this maybe every single day, every single week? Maybe you're going to make it a habit to look at it every single week. Maybe you're going to write it down. And this is what I'm going to be doing. Write it down in my journal. I'm going to create it completely in my journal, that every time I open my journal, I can see this. I can see my goals. Because hopefully, if you've gone through all of this, this is exciting stuff. If this doesn't light you up, then there's something off with the goals that you've created for yourself. So again, if you want to go through this whole process with all the men in the men's group together with me live, then fill out the application form. I hope it was helpful, and I'm curious to hear from you if you have maybe different angles that you're approaching your preparation for 2025 from, because there are so many different ways in which you can approach this, and there's not one way to do this. We all have different needs and different phases of life where we apply different things. So if you have different ideas, I look forward to hearing them in the comments below. And I hope this whole framework is helpful for you to prepare for 2025, because it's going to be an incredible year. So have a lot of fun with this creation process, and I'll see you in the next video.